Alright, that boy Barry here. Anyways, I uploaded a short reel about 2 years ago of my Frankenstein I threw together here. Kind of start from the very beginning how this happened and formulated. This guy on YouTube, Clayco, he does AK-47s, AR-15s, retro stuff. Pretty cool dude. Watched quite a few of his videos. Very educational, learned a lot of stuff from it. And he had a guy about 2 years ago, I think it was, one of his subscribers or a friend or somebody, had a Rock and Lock 5.56 AR-15 with like a Dissy upper. And yeah, I was like, what? That's freaking cool. So anyways, I was able to track it down, I think on Reddit or some forum. And he had used a Palmetto State Armory lower that they had modified the pins and re-welded tabs and stuff in there because 7.62 by 39 and 5.56 magazines lock up differently, so you can't accidentally put the wrong ammunition in the wrong gun. That being said, I don't think you can accidentally set off 7.62 39 in a 5.45 gun. Maybe, but anyways, I was like, well, that's freaking sweet. So I went ahead and I ordered me a Palmetto State Armory lower, and I was going to modify it and cut it up and make it work for me. And I was like, all right, cool. So I ordered it, got it in a few days, and then I set it in my safe, and I started tracking down other parts. I'm like, all right. So they used a Palmetto State Armory KS-47 lower, and they used just a regular, I think, Palmetto State Armory or an Anderson upper. And anyways, if you know the difference between ARs and AKs, is that AK magazines are thicker. They're out of Bakelite or heavy stamping steel sheet metal, whereas like AR-15s are, Stenag aluminum stampings or whatnot, and so they're all quite a bit thinner than these. And alright, so they had to machine the inside lips of the magazine to match the KS-47 lower, which made these walls super thin and kind of fragile, but if the gun's together, it's not going to be a problem. And I'm like, alright. So I'm digging around, I'm like, okay, so the KS-47 lower, the KS-47 upper receiver is already machined for that. Why not just use a KS-47 upper receiver? So I went ahead and went online and I bought me a KS-47 pistol upper, 7.5 inch 7.62 by 39 barrel. I was like, all right, I'll break that down and I'm going to use the upper receiver on my KS-47 lower where I'm going to modify my lower. Well, I sign up for so many different manufacturers on the internet and I get so many emails, and I think it was Classic Firearms. They had these Foxtrot Mike 102s that you could have a side folder stock on it and you had nothing coming back, and it is like dual spring over top like a BRN 180 or an AR 180, AR 18, whatever. All right, sweet. So I saw that lower. I'm like, well, it still has an extension on the back, and it's 4.545 or 5.56. I don't have to modify my KS-47. Okay, so I went ahead and ordered this guy. So I have two lower receivers sitting in my safe that I haven't used, don't have set up. And anyways, a little gerbil in my head running around is like, well, if you have a 5.56 upper, you could do 5.45 by 39. So gears turning. And anyways, I was like, all right. So I went online. I think it was it was a website that's, pretty loosely regulated on the internet, which they had to change some things on it. But looked at a local ad locally to me, and I found a Smith Wesson M&P-15R, which, if you don't know, a lot of big manufacturers back in the earlier 2000s, when 7.6 was stupid cheap and wasn't classified as armor-piercing pistol ammunition, it was cheaper to shoot it than it was 5.56 because you got dirt cheap from Russia. And so there's a lot of chamberings for ARs back then for 5.45 by 39 because it was cheaper to shoot. So I found the Smith Wesson M&P-15R, and I broke it down and I threw its whole forend on the KS-47 receiver. And I was like, hey, I still have to use the Smith Wesson M&P-15R bolt face. So I put that in there, and just the same buffer weight that came in the Smith & Wesson. It's got the same fire control from the Smith & Wesson. It just has a KS-47 upper, receiver, charging handle, and the bolt carrier. I mean, it even says Smith & Wesson, or not Smith & Wesson, it says KS-47 on the bolt. So you have to use the KS-47 bolt because it's clearanced for the lips on the AR. Well, got so many letters and numbers here, give me a second. But your 5.45 by 39 mags have to clear the runner inside the bolt. So they already clearanced the upper receiver to take the mags, and then they also clearanced the bolt itself, bolt carrier itself, to clear the groove in the back of the mags. So pretty much, you know, there's literally no gunsmithing. You don't have to do anything. It's just Lego pieces. So if you find, you know, a whatever 5.45 by 39 upper, you can just swap this onto a KS-47 receiver and then just mount it to a Foxtrot Mike 102 lower, and then use the bolt face for whatever barrel system you got, and then you just use a KS-47 bolt carrier, and everything else works perfectly fine. It's gassed the way it's supposed to be for it, and it works fine. I did find out that the Bulgarian mags do not work very well in this thing. I was like, why is it jamming and having all these issues? But you can see how loose it is in there, which in an AK, that's fine. But when you have a Eugene Stoner designed, you know, aerospace technology in the 1960s and 50s designed weapon, it has to fit up a little tighter. So if you use the Magpul mags, there's no wiggle there. It's so tight, feeds flawlessly. The recoil on it, it's like, what recoil? You know, a 5.56 gun guy's like, oh, it don't recoil at all. Well, shoot this thing, it does even less somehow. The Russian science. But I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you real quick. I can't do it on video because YouTube will not like it, or so I hear. So I'm going to pause it real quick, and then I'm going to pop it apart and show you everything. So everything broke down here. You have your Foxtrot Mike 102 lower with just your regular mil-spec trigger in it, nothing special. And then upper, you see where it's cut out, because normally it'd be about that thick all the way to the back. Well, they bulged it here, and they also bulged the receiver, so you still maintain that same thickness that you would almost on a regular receiver. This side's thicker, but also has the over insertion tabs in there, so you don't have to worry about over insertions. And it's nice and rounded out really well, so it fits in there just even tight just into the receiver, which is really cool. The M4 feed ramps that are in there that they already had for the M&P-15R do just fine. I had no issues. You use just a regular mil-spec AR-15 charging handle, and then have a 5.45 by 39 bolt face, bolt head, and you just use a KS-47 bolt carrier, and literally that is just it. Lego piece it together. So if you have a Foxtrot Mike lower and a KS-47 upper receiver, you can literally just throw everything else together, and there's no fitting, no teething issues. I would use the Magpul AR-70 or AK-74 mags. You basically just kind of took your AR-15 back in time because there is no last round hold open. That's like the only kind of downside to it. Other than that, it's just kind of cool. Ergonomics are the same as an AR-15, other than just no bolt release, and then the mag release being down here like an AK. So that's pretty cool too. But if you guys have any questions or anything, shoot me a message. That Boy Barry on all social medias. Any questions, whatnot, I'll answer them the best of my ability. But please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.